And you've talked a little bit about, your efforts in the past on crime in Denver. I think one thing that has been an issue in a lot of the districts throughout the city is graffiti. Is there anything in particular that you think that the city needs to do differently now, that you would try to push for the city to change in it, or how would you suggest we address sort of the growing concerns about graffiti?
Fortunately, much of this district is being a part of the broken windows theory being applied. That sounded a bit scary at first, as if we live in a high crime area, and actually we don't. But there is enough disruption that, and broken windows is such a good theory, that District 3 and District 2 are applying that to parts of my council district.
Okay.
That means that there will be attention paid immediately to graffiti. We have to report it, we have to monitor it, but we should be on top of it and prevent its growth.
You've talked a little bit about which areas are in your district. Can you kind of give us a quick rundown? I should ask that in the beginning, what's in your district and what's not?
Well, if it were square, and it is far from that, the eastern edge is always the Aurora border.
Okay. But
that's even a zigzag line because that's partly along Yosemite, and sometimes it's as far east as Havana. The northernmost boundary is 23rd Avenue, which is the border of Stapleton. None of Stapleton is in my district, but it goes right up against Stapleton.
Okay.
The furthest west this district goes is Colorado Boulevard.
Okay.
And the furthest south it goes is Mississippi. Which includes, this means that within the district are Windsor Gardens, there's some neighborhoods southeast of that, Rangeview and Park Forest and the Breakers, other apartment complexes and homes, then all of Lowry, some neighborhoods like Mayfair Park and George Washington Homeowners Association, Crestmore, Hilltop, historic Montclair, Mayfair, Parks of Bellevue Hale, East Montclair Neighborhood Association, and South Park Hill. Okay. There are others, but that's a pretty good geographic rundown.
Okay. Thank you. Now you've worked on the board of school board, and now you're a city council member. What role do you feel like the city has? Because that's another issue that a lot of people have been talking about from the city's perspective, and that they're concerned about is education. And what role do you think the city has in promoting schools or in education in general?
Well, the city is involved in after-school programs. We fund some lights on after-school programs, and we have youth employment opportunities in the city. We also meet, some of us are on the city schools coordinating committee, so some of us on council meet with some members of the Board of Education quarterly. Some of the most interesting conversations have been, can we blend the bringing people into the homes that have been foreclosed upon back into the city, and we have acknowledged that in order for people to want to be in the neighborhoods where these very affordable homes are now, they also want a very good school in that neighborhood. Okay. Well, the schools have initiated, or are on the edge of initiating, their own internal charter school program called Beacon Schools. Okay. So if we can work together so that Beacon Schools are in neighborhoods where there is affordable housing, maybe we can solve the regentrification of neighborhoods, the revitalization of neighborhoods that have suffered recently, with schools that will be very appealing to people.
Okay. And then another issue that the city council faces often is zoning, and it seems to be a lot of what you do. What's your approach, and what do you think needs to be done differently than has been the case in the past, several years?
Well, the Zoning Code Task Force is stopping to do a chapter to address the concerns people have about houses that are not in character in the neighborhoods. Okay. That is of interest to many of us who have districts that are seeing a lot of change, a lot of houses that neighbors perceive as being too big to be in character with the neighborhood. That is something we can do, is we can stay on top of this subject to try to give some relief to neighborhoods.
Okay. So that's something that we can do, that the city can do differently in terms of zoning going forward.
We're exploring that.
Oh, okay. And is there something, about your campaign that you want to sort of let people know about, or that you'd like to say that we haven't covered yet, or?
Well, because of the things we've covered, I think this campaign is about momentum, wanting to keep all these initiatives going, wanting to use the staff that I have that is superb at following through on constituent concerns. So we're just not through with the projects and not wanting to lose 1 minute of knowledge learned in dealing with the city so that we can continue to serve the people in the district.
And have you already voted?
I have.
Okay, great.
I'd love to say that my daughter, who lives in Virginia, got her absentee ballot about a week before we got ours, and so got a phone call, and I knew before I had seen a ballot that I had at least one vote.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, thank you for meeting with us, and I appreciate it, and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.